My name is John Stryker, Council Leader for the Brotherhood of Steel, and I am recording this in case anyone finds this book. It's 0700, it's day 1 on UTEZ. It's our last hour before deployment. It was a long night, couldn't stop thinking about the mission in a few hours. We leave the island in about an hour to head to Chernogorsk. Apparently there is a squad there that needs relief. Josh and myself are the only ones going. Still don't know how I feel about this. I trust him with my life, but I'd much rather have another person by our sides. Time is 1100 hours. We just arrived in Chernogorsk. Took us a few hours to get there. We just finished unloading our cargo from the boats. With some help from the local military, the CDF, we told them about our relief mission about heading up to Berenzino. They insisted on one of their men to come along with us, Sergeant Nikolai Plesnovic. He goes by Cal though. I had no idea where we were going. He told me to take the main road on the coast all the way up. It would have been the fastest way. Time is 1400 hours. We arrived in a city called Electro, as I like to call it because Cal says the other abbreviation is really hard. The town was filled with people, but these people looked sick and confused. People were coughing up blood and chewing their own fingers off. Halfway through this town there was a hospital, and it was full of sick people, doctors running around, and people crying for help and screaming for mercy. After passing through all that, we were coming around the corner when we saw a convoy of different trucks from CDF to the Soviet armored vehicles. There was something wrong, and it was just getting worse. I remember Cal saying that there was something going around, but he said not to worry about it. How I wish he was right. Time is 1800 hours. A few hours later, Cal spots something on the side of the road, which appears to be a burning bus if I recall. A few meters in front, more vehicles abandoned on the road. Joshua and Cal got into an argument of what the hell was happening. We continued through the town known as Solonichny. Cal told us that it was an industrial and power plant town. Still, there was nobody around and vehicles everywhere like they were trying to escape. We moved through carefully and came upon a factory, but what surprised us is that there was a fob set up nearby. We came out of the town and closer to the factory, and there was more smoke and fire. This time it wasn't burning bodies, but tanks, armored vehicles, and medical helicopters destroyed all by something. As we slowed down, Joshua asked Cal, "Are we at war with somebody?" And Cal answered, "Not that I know of. Stop over there. Let me see if any of my comrades are inside." Time is 1900 hours. I remember pulling over for Cal to see if anyone is still there, or to try and find some answers. As we approached the fob, we could tell that the place was abandoned. Cal knew some people here, and he is hoping that they are alright. We slowly made our way to the front gate of the fob, and the smell hit us. It smelled like rotting flesh and burnt fabric. Cal asked me who could have done such a thing. I told him if you're at war, this is what it is. Then he just turned around and walked back to the car like nothing happened. I thought to myself, maybe that's how he deals with things. Whatever it was, the sight wasn't pretty. We got back into the car and continued on our way to the Berenzino and hoped to find someone. Time is 2100 hours. We arrived on the southern outskirts of Berenzino and we decided to take overwatch on the city before we enter it. We went to some barn just to the north of where we were, and Cal took out some binoculars. What surprised him is that the town was also empty and it looked worse than the rest of them. But he spots someone running and someone chasing him. Cal stood up and said we have to go down there and help him so we can get some answers. We all started running down to the UAZ when Joshua says, "Go save him, I'll go back, get the car, and I'll meet you guys there." Cal and I made haste to get down there and see if we could find him and help this guy. Time is 2150. We ran down to the last known location, which appears to be a store, in hopes that we could find this guy, but there was nothing inside besides tin cans and glass. Cal and I, we were both trying to find this man we saw. Then we heard a yell for help coming from the back of the store. We broke through thrown down shelves and debris and made it to the back room where we saw the guy we were looking for. Someone was clenched over onto his jacket and snapping at this poor guy's head. Cal didn't hesitate whatsoever and took the shot, and killed the thing who was on top of the man crying for help. We helped him up and got him back onto his feet. The guy was so scared he was breathing so hard. The guy looked at both of us and said thank you. We then proceeded to ask what the hell is going on around here, trying to find out some answers. This is when we learned about the outbreak. The man talked about a virus that came in from a ship that crashed ashore just north of here, and this virus started to spread all over. People became hungry for blood and losing consciousness, and when the people died from fever and starvation, he told us that they get back up and try to eat you like you're a chopped steak. Me and Cal stared at each other in disbelief. Cal looked frightened and I was trying to stay calm, not just for me, but for everyone. Cal asked the man, "So this guy just stood up after he was already dead and tried to kill you?" The man nodded his head. Scared shitless, his knees were shaking so bad I thought he was going to collapse. I offered him a sip of my water from my canteen, but he kept refusing everything that we had to offer. But he had a valid point because he said that he heard not to share any fluids with anyone because you could get potential risk of making yourself sick. Cal spoke up again and asked the man his name. The man introduced himself as Victor, and that he was here on some business opportunity. He told us that it was a long story and it was a business trip gone horribly wrong. Both Cal and I introduced ourselves. This is when I heard Joshua pull up in the UAZ. We walked out to the front of the store and Josh was standing there with the car. He asked if everything was alright and I told him things are about to get a lot worse. After I said that, we all heard this loud growling and moaning noise coming from down the street and around the buildings. It was echoing, and I can only feel the worst. As we walked out to the street and saw a horde of people stumbling with limbs missing and running after us, it was clear that we needed to act fast. Josh ran, got the UAZ, while Cal, Victor, and myself held the horde off the best we could. We got in the vehicle and out of there just in time. End of day 1 transmission.
What, you thought we were done? I still got a story to tell.